to the American Bar Association at the same time, it'll make just as much sense, and they call it Coca-Cola and have them remove my membership. And then while you're at it, why don't you contact PS4 Live and get them to remove my account at the same time? Contact YouTube, contact Squatters, contact Parlay, contact BitChute. I want you to contact everything that I am on and tell them that you are reporting me to the police because, in my opinion, you are a pedophile when you are sharing porn with children. You fucking pedo! Hey, Sammy, while you're
Welcome back, everybody, to the Condor podcast. I hope you are doing well today. We have a lot to talk about tonight with the lawsuit. We do have the filings, which we're going to read through. We have the original GoFundMe that Jisu posted, as well as the changes that have been made to it, including the amount coming down by a significant margin. Now, I want to talk about stuff like this that I keep saying, right? And it amazes me. It amazes me. Jess, by the way, I will do your announcement later on when we have more people on. It amazes me that people have been so absurdly fucking wrong and will continue to have and then other people have these absurd fucking hot takes as if they do not understand how some really basic shit would work, right? And I'm picking on Tipster quite a bit, right? And I'll be honest there. I am picking on Tipster here because Tipster is one of those guys who's so fucking wholesome that when I see him have just a really bad hot take, I'm like, coming from him, people think it's more reasonable, which is weird. But let me say this in the best way I can, right? The whole thing of Zero and the suicide attempts. To my understanding, Tommy C was calling it sympathy baiting, and I believe it was on his podcast, maybe on somebody else's. They argued that there was no proof of the suicide either, and I'm going the police were actually involved in the second attempt. Arguments that the guy isn't remorseful, which again, when he's talking about paying his atonements, and then he tries to seppuku twice. I mean, it seems like some form of remorse or something. I don't know. But then there's this whole thing about how the lawsuit isn't actually going to happen, or it's bullshit, or it's made up. I don't fucking know. Just stupid fucking claims like that. And now one of the most fair things that I think was ever brought up, and I think Willie Mack, when he brought it up to me, I was like, I hadn't heard it yet, and I didn't really have an argument against it. I really didn't. But Pell, I see that. Don't worry. I hear these arguments, right? I hear these arguments about Zero not specifically denying the claim with Katie, right? And whenever anyone asks him, he refuses to talk about it. And he didn't even deny it to Technicals. Now, at the time he had spoken with Technicals, he had already had legal counsel. So I believe. So then it would make sense that the legal counsel would be telling him what is okay to tell Technicals and what is not okay. But I was looking at the filings, and we'll see it. There's 10 unnamed individuals in the lawsuit, and there's no mention of Katie's story. So I'm sitting there going look, Katie is probably one of those unnamed individuals, and they can amend their filing as they get more information. But they can't really bring Katie on and say what they're suing her for, right? That's why they'll have to amend the filing later until they actually know who she is, right? They'll have to figure that out. Otherwise, why even fucking mention it? Because if Zero is going around talking about it, right, she can point to his own statements and be like, look here, look here, look here, look here. He keeps bringing it up. And I think putting the onus on her to call Katie as her witness makes a lot more sense, right? Because here's how this lawsuit reads to me, right? He's addressed specific claims that you can absolutely prove that Jisu lied about. He doesn't bring up the Katie story at all, right? Now, Jisu can then fall on her fucking sword and defend these girls and not out anyone, or Jisu can throw them under the bus and tell everyone who they are, right? Either way, in terms of an optics move, Jisu's in a terrible fucking position, because the thing that would make the most sense would make her out to be a terrible human being amongst that crowd of that crowd of people. I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. It's probably closer to 100%. I mean, like, I don't know what the fuck those dudes' problems are. I really don't. But at this point, everything that's been coming out seems to be more in line with what Technicals has been saying. And as far as this whole, the biggest thing that I think that they had was, Zero not specifically denying that claim, but if he's planning on adding her into the lawsuit, but he can't do it because he doesn't know her name, it would make sense for him not to keep talking about it and providing further statements that, Jisu's legal team could start compiling. I mean, just in general, that would seem to be the appropriate move. Like, I don't know. But right? That would seem to be the appropriate move. Now, as far as the GoFundMe itself, right? And we'll look at the filings here in a second. Let me see if I can find that archive link for you guys. As you can see here, Jisu raised $120,000 instead of $150,000. So originally she was trying to raise $150K. She changed it to $120,000, which is a big difference. And she also changed a few things in it. Specifically, she cannot name Zero in the title of her GoFundMe, and I'll show you why. And I'll show you why from Jisu herself, because I think that'd be a little bit more appropriate. So let's see here. Okay, so this was where she said she was being sued. The whole campaign was taken down by GoFundMe for a whole 6 hours because they have to make one small change. GoFundMe, please put it back up. This is beyond frustrating. I'm almost certain these are trolls just reporting the page. Please take a look at this double standard. I'm going to edit my page anyways. I'll let you guys know when it's back up. This is beyond infuriating. Okay, so due to reports we have received, we do require that you remove all personal identifiable information from the fundraiser, which includes the names of the parties involved. Now, they'll get the title for this one, Help Megan Ruiz with Legal Fees, right? And she says, I'm being sued by Chris Staffer for defamation, slander per se, right? Libel per se, conspiracy, and influential infliction of emotional distress. She's giving a factual rundown. She doesn't have any additional statements that are defamatory, right? And we read through Jisu's we read through Jisu's GoFundMe initially, but I think Jisu's like entire GoFundMe was straight up defamation, right? It was like straight up defamation per se, which is a little bit of a problem. Just a little bit of a problem. Now let's see here. Okay, here's the archive page. Now this would be the big difference between this GoFundMe and her initial GoFundMe. Ex-gamer and abuser Zero suing me for speaking up. Okay, the reason to change the fucking title is because she's being sued for defamation, and this dumbass was defaming him in the fucking title. Of course, GoFundMe doesn't want that on their website because they don't want to be looped into your fucking lawsuit either. Oh, it's so infuriating. Like, this is the mental capacity that is going to go up against Zero and his legal team. I mean, sure, she's probably going to hire a very good attorney, but Jisu herself is such a terrible client to have that I doubt that they would ever want her to testify.
I agree. Yeah.
How you doing, Redsky?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. You see how these are completely different statements?
Yeah. It's crazy. Oh, yeah. So what's this thing right here with Megan Ruiz or whatever her name is?
She pulled another GoFundMe of someone who's getting sued for defamation and called it a double standard because Megan Ruiz has the guy's name in her GoFundMe GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the reason why it's a big difference is because Jisu's fucking title was defamation.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, and person in chat, 2 people did send $200 each. There was a guy who sent 1,000.
There's multiple people that sent 1,000, but I would say that those are more than likely influencers within Smash. They don't really.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So look, you can see all, right? See top donations. This is everything. A lot of donations are anonymous though, but you can see right here.
Jesus Christ!
Thank you. 500 from KO, 250 from anonymous, 1,000 from anonymous, and it's interesting. But like if her whole thing is she's just gonna find people to like drop $1,000 in her defense. I mean, that's not going to be the average person donating. She needs to get 120,000. So, And I've seen a few of those $1,000 donos. We'll see what happens, though.
Yeah, it honestly like it's still pretty baffling, but at the same time, I'm not surprised.
Oh, never be surprised. All right, so let's pull up his filing. So, as you can see here, Gonzalo Barrios, which is 0, Jacqueline Cho, and that is Jisu. Now, this is the thing I think that a lot of people need to be paying attention to, and John's the one who pointed out to me, right? And it explains why they're not bringing Katie's story up right now. He is suing Jacqueline Cho, an individual, and Doe's 1 through 10, right? He's suing 10 unnamed individuals. Do you think Katie's one of those individuals, Redsky?
I would assume so.
Yeah, see, I would too. So if he's not mentioning her until later, there's a reason why. And it's actually a pretty simple reason why. Jisu's going to have to bring her up to defend herself against Zero's claim. Jisu is, right? Jisu's going to have to bring it up, and Jisu's going to have to provide the witness for that. Who she knows, right? That's the other element. She actually knows who the individual is. Now, optics-wise, if she sells that girl out, I mean, Jisu's kind of done. Like, he could lose the lawsuit. Jisu doesn't recover from that. Because that girl's not going to want to come forward if Jisu forces her to. It's not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Oh, sorry. I got to blow my nose. Redsky, talk to the audience.
I don't know, chat. What do you think about all this? Obviously, like, Jisu...
They can't respond in real time, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shoot. Well... problem right now with the commentary community in this case right now is everyone is trying. Okay, I can't highlight messages, so I'm just reading them through. everyone is trying to make hot takes before the info comes out and we're able to understand the reasons. Yeah, that's the problem with this situation. I know, like, I wasn't really going to talk about that side of things, really, but, like, I'm really disappointed in seeing how those guys jumped to a conclusion, and now apparently they're, like, walking it back. Uh, which is, you know, like, they were trying to, like, change the context on what they were saying or whatever, which I kind of think is a shitty thing to do. But yeah, that's why I never really wanted to talk about it to begin with, other than the fact that, like, Twitter itself was becoming, like, a cesspool of just toxicity because of this one stupid drama. But the full context wasn't out yet. Like, I felt like there was more information that needed to come out, and I think that was the case. And if those guys would have waited a bit longer, I think that would have helped their case a lot more. But everybody kind of went in hot, got emotional, and, you know, we are where we are right now. So,
Oh, the fucking drama.
yeah.
I mean, like, I showed Tipster's tweet, but it's more like, you know, at a certain point.
Well, that's like latching on to the situation still, because you're not wanting to accept that you might be on the losing side.
I mean,
don't
like,
know.
I don't know if it's that or if, like, it's just this, like willful fucking blindness. I don't know how else to describe it. You know, you have somebody who is, like, consistently wrong with elements of this, right? And I'm not talking about, like, it's majorly wrong or, you know, he's doing it maliciously, but just really being wrong about elements, or misinformed or underinformed, right? Whatever you want to call it. And then this happens, and the first response is not, maybe I should think about this before I give my take. It's, no, let me give a hot take. Let me give another fucking dunk. Let me go lay my fucking W. Give technicals as L. Like, it's this mentality that's just making these guys look really fucking dumb. Because I look at it, and I can see exactly why the girl, Katie, is not being brought up in the lawsuit. It also then makes sense why this guy is providing no statements about Katie, right? Because Katie is unnamed. Nobody knows who Katie is. Katie doesn't need to be included in the lawsuit unless you can get her name, in which later they can amend the lawsuit for her. But for now, he just wants to sue Jisu, right? And if Jisu is forced to reveal the identity of Katie as her witness, right? Because Jisu was involved in the claim, she does know who Katie is, right?
Mm-hmm.
This all makes sense, and it still lines up with what Technicals has said, right? There's nothing that's come out yet that is incorrect or that makes it look like that makes it look like Technicals has been misinforming us in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, it's really just Katie who, pretty much.
Yeah, that's one thing that I haven't seen people really bringing up that much, is the fact that Katie's anonymous and Jisu's the only one who has her contact.
So, look, Jisu, the thing is, you could keep it all as an anonymous claim, but the thing is, you know, Jisu's going to have to introduce that element as her defense, and as soon as anyone gets asked about it, you know, she's going to have to reveal who Katie is. Right? Because and I don't know how to say this, right? But if you have a judge who's sitting in court and you have a woman who's sitting down on the stand, right? And she's refusing to identify a witness of a crime, right? After that witness has already come forward and given several public statements. I mean, it might play well on social media. It doesn't really play well in a court of law, though.
Most of the stuff that's pulled on social media doesn't work well in a court of law, but some people literally think it does.
Unfortunately.
It's insane.
Unfortunately. But that is the way of it. This right here, though, as far as like why he isn't specifically naming Katie or Katie's story in the lawsuit, it's pretty obvious for most people, I think. I think for most people, it's very obvious and they know exactly why. And I think for others, they need to stop being so fucking arrogant and just think about it. Technicals is set to burn down the Smash community using Zero as a spearhead. Technicals proves Sky William innocent. Does Nick or Augie retract that? I think that they've been incredibly respectful to Sky Williams throughout, because obviously Sky has nothing but respect and love for Technicals, and he also really likes Nick and Augie.
I do recall them saying they didn't want Sky Williams to like be brought up as like somebody people go hate on or whatever. So
yeah, no, and like I don't think that they're like taking anything back for Sky Williams. But again, you know, to be clear, Technicals did all the work to vindicate Sky Williams. You think that would at least give him some, you know, I don't say trust, but some level of respect where you could just, I don't know, give the guy the benefit of the doubt that he's not defending pedophiles, right? Like, I don't know why that became the fucking narrative. It's just...
yeah, I that was really retarded. We have the housewife to thank for that one.
Oh.
Huh?
Oh, so are you talking about the horse fucker?
Yeah.
No, yeah. Interesting guy. I hear Augie threw him under the bus. And
a couple times, actually.
I'm just like, you know, dude, Connor's definitely the one who went running around digging for the dirt. But again,
okay, you know what's funny about that is he didn't even know who Technicals was like prior to this situation.
Oh, that's stupid.
So like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate when you see things like that happen, because I was watching, I rewatched the T3 podcast where Technicals was on.
Oh, yeah.
Because I watched 30 minutes into it, then I went back and I watched all from the beginning. And, you know, what Technicals is saying about Diorio versus the other guys, I was like, yeah, I can totally see why he feels that way. But, you know, as much as Technical says things like he would never forgive Diorio for leaking DMs and shit like that, to be clear, I don't think that meshes with Technical's own stance that nobody's irredeemable.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be their friend, but, you know,
yeah,
that wouldn't be the end of the world.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so let's keep going down. Barrios is a resident of LA County. Jacqueline Show, same thing. Defendants named herein as does 1 through 10 inclusive are unknown to Barrios, who therefore sues such doe defendants by such fictitious names pursuant to Section 747 of the Code of Civil Procedure. Barrios is informed, believes, and thereon alleges that each fictitiously named doe defendant is in some manner, means, or degree responsible for the events and happenings herein alleged. Barrios will amend this complaint to assert the true names and capacities of the fictitiously designated doe defendants when the same have been ascertained. So to be clear, right, I already said he can amend his filing, right? He can amend his filing later. That's absolutely true, right? His own filing says that when he has the true name of the individuals, he will amend the filing to also include their specific involvement, right? I don't know how much clearer I can make it that Katie is a target of this lawsuit. Jesus, man. Like, it's not just Jisu, by the way. Like, he's going after Katie too.
Mm-hmm.
I
gotta read in between the lines a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it amazes me. Like, it really does. I gotta highlight that. Fuck. Where is that? Can I copy and paste that? Okay, there we go. So he's gonna address the. Hey, John.
Yo.
Yes, I read through it right over here where it says right here. Okay, you don't even have to like everybody knows you can amend a complaint later on, right? But like his own filing says that is their intention, right? It says right here, Barrios will amend this complaint to assert the true names and capacities of the fictitiously designated Doe defendants when the same have been ascertained. I don't understand how you can, and again, okay. I get how people can look at a court filing that's what? How many pages long is this? Oh, this is only 7 pages long. Never mind. You're really retarded. But like this is
it was an easy read.
This is the second page. Okay, this is the second page, and it's the third paragraph of the complaint. All right, you must not have even opened up the filing before you gave a hot take that Katie is not even mentioned. Okay, you have to be willfully fucking dumb to continue to talk about this situation and also be too fucking lazy and stupid to read the third fucking paragraph. The third one. Not the 13th.
That's
not buried on page 4. The third fucking paragraph. These people aren't even reading. Oh, God damn it. John, I know you muted your mic, but I
What's up?
Like, it's literally the third paragraph, man.
Yeah. That's, well, I mean, look, I think it's because we don't know, as we've heard before, right? The Katie is a pseudonym, right? We don't even know if Katie is actually that person's first name, right? But if it is, right, that's all we know, right? We just know this person as Katie. This person has identified themselves as Katie. No last name, no other identifiable characteristics, traits, or anything like that have been shared publicly. All we have is just the name. So that would be a Jane Doe, essentially. You know what I mean? For all, you know, at least for the purposes of this filing, right? Because we don't have a last name. We don't have anything else to identify this person with except a supposed pseudonym. So I would think that with that being said, right, what's put in that, that would mean that that's one of the people that he plans to sue. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the assumption. I think that's a pretty safe assumption to make. I mean, we could be wrong, right? It's possible. We could be wrong. But I think it's reasonable to assume that she's also going to be a part of this. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, he's going to get those names. His lawyers are going to get those names, regardless of whether Jisu wants to comply or not. Even if she tries to be resistant to it, I mean, once it comes down, once the order comes down, I mean, you got to comply with it. And if not, that's fine. If you want to try to pull this whole thing of moralizing and grandstanding in the public eye and be like, no, I'll fall on my sword before I give up who they are and blah, blah, blah. I guess you can do that, but that's still not going to make things better for you. The other thing too is that once these suits go out, you're basically told, you know, not to delete any of your communications and things like that. So if she tries to do damage control behind the scenes and she tries to cover her tracks, that will only make things worse for her. If she willfully deletes any of the communications that she had with any of these girls that can actually identify with them, that will just make things worse for her. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am actually really, really interested to see if she would make an attempt at doing that. It wouldn't surprise me if she did. That's the thing. It wouldn't surprise me if she did. But and it's mostly from the standpoint that this girl has acted in one of the most idiotic ways I've ever seen someone like respond to a lawsuit. I am curious though. I am curious the likelihood of it surviving slap in California. Now, John, you said you looked through California slap statute.
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now. Actually, if you want to go over it.
Yeah, we can pull it up. But now, the slap is like the reason why defamation suits are so hard in the United States is because of, you know,
First Amendment.
of our First Amendment rights. And I think that I can't remember who, but at one point someone had mentioned how somebody had lost a defamation lawsuit, in the UK, and they're laughing because it was like one of the only times a YouTuber had been sued for defamation. And I'm going like, yeah, because most of the time it's taking place in the United States where you have all these defenses automatically built in, like a mandatory slap hearing, that the defense doesn't even need to request is one of those things, right?
Yeah.
I know that you're saying it's not, or sorry, saying that you don't think that she'll be able to use it, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, she might be able to. It's possible because I mean, we've seen it happen before. That's the thing with court cases; you just never know where the wind is going to blow on these things. She could, her lawyer could immediately file for anti-slap, and the case could be, it could end up being dismissed because of that. I think though, based on what she's put out there publicly, I think that's going to be very, very difficult to do. That's just my layman's opinion on it. I'm not a lawyer, I mean, I could be completely wrong, but at least from what she's put out there herself, I think that's going to be very hard for. It's going to be very hard for her lawyer. She's already, in my opinion, at least from what I see on the surface, she's already put them at a bit of a disadvantage. So, but I could be wrong. Maybe the lawyers will find something that we're not seeing, that we're overlooking, and be able to, get the case dismissed.
Well, I am curious now, right?
I sent it in our private chat. So you can...
Yeah. Okay, I'll read that at the end here. I am curious, though, how the commentary crew feels about the lawsuit now, right? Which, I mean, you can say Technicals is in full support of this lawsuit, right? Sure. Are they going to go after him? Because one of the purposes of this lawsuit is to name Katie and take her and sue her specifically. Right? You've had Augie and Nick and Tipster and Willie Mac, Tommy C, right? All come down that they are firmly against what he has done here, right? They believe the Ice Cube story, which is a big part of that too. So how are they going to feel about a lawsuit in which a man they feel is a pedophile and a predator? How are they going to feel about that lawsuit being crowdfunded against one of his victims, right? Like it to me, if they were going to have like this moral fucking stance against this, it would have been, once the lawsuit actually dropped and they read through it. I'm being serious, right? Even if you disagree with their opinion, it would be very fucking consistent if they said that this lawsuit is awful, specifically because one of the intentions of the lawsuit is to name, identify, and take the one of his victims, as these guys see it, to court. Mm-hmm. How do you not respond to that? I'm being serious. How do you not respond to it?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's one thing, right? Maybe again, like I said before, maybe her lawyers can prove that they find something that we're just not seeing, right? That looks entirely frivolous, and they end up getting that the anti-slap. But the thing is, there's another aspect we got to look at here as well. She could end up just being like, well, hey, look, they weren't, because she had her own claims, right? Jisu had her own claims with the whole, showing hentai and, these Craigslist ads and things like that. So that's her, but she could end up trying to pull the whole, well, these other more serious claims, I was just telling the story. They're not actually my claims, and throwing these other people under the bus, to save her own skin, which is possible. That's absolutely a possibility in this, that we were discussing on my stream towards the end. But I don't know, man. I mean, the way it looks, at least on the surface, it doesn't look good for her. But again, I don't know exactly. It's in California, and shit is weird in California.
Well, yeah, shit is
Yeah,
weird
fuck
in California,
dude.
But optics wise,
Optics
it would be
wise,
the end of her
yeah.
career as an activist if she named that girl without her consent.
Correct, and that's
Quote
why
unquote
but
activist.
here's the thing. The thing is, even if the thing she'll be able to argue too is that she was forced to. You know what I mean? She'll if she does go ahead, like I'm sure that whatever spin she has on social media will be that, right? If she decides to just go ahead and give it up willingly, right? Give all the information up willingly, she'd be like, I was legally compelled to do it. You know what I mean? She'll find a way. She'll find a way to spin it so that it doesn't seem as bad as what it actually is. You know what I mean? In order to protect her public image, I'm sure. Because that seems to be what all she cares about, right? Is how she looks in the public eye and being this great champion for the women's, right?
The Whammons.
Or victims, I should say, not just the women's, but victims. You know what I mean? Because she's a professional victim herself. So
and I've said this already. You know, even if you think Katie's story is like 100% real, I mean, think of it in the sense of it going to court. You have an accuser that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your problem. You have an accuser that doesn't exist.
We don't know. Yeah, that we don't know if they exist or not. That's
legally right now. Yeah. Legally right now, they don't exist.
Yeah,
you can't question them. You have no idea what their identity is.
Yeah, because they're anonymous. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. You know, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds because. She, like I said, I feel like at least from what I've seen and how she handles stuff publicly, I think she's going to pull the whole, the whole moral grandstand of not wanting to give anybody up and that, she's going to fall on her sword for this and she's going to fight, you know what I mean? And all this stuff. But, so that people will look at her and say like, oh, you were honorable. You never talked, you never stooled, you know what I mean? But I doubt that that's really what's going to happen. I think she's going to get up as soon as possible. I mean, the longer this goes for her, honestly, the more costly it's going to be. And whatever damages Zero is seeking from her, I really don't think that she's going to be able to afford.
I mean, I've already said, like, I heard this someone make this argument that, oh, you know what, he's probably just hoping to get a small settlement out of Jisu. I was like, dude, okay, stop, right? I get that he's been canceled and everything a year ago, but this guy's a fucking millionaire, right? Jisu's a poor, filthy, dirty little fucking hoe bag, right? he literally, his lawsuit is going to cost him substantially more than he could ever hope to collect out of Jisu in her entire lifespan, right?
I agree. Yeah.
The purpose of the lawsuit is not money. I made it clear. The purpose of the lawsuit's not money.
Yeah, I think it's more to, I mean, and I can't speak for Zero. Obviously, I can't speak for Zero. I mean, me looking at it, I've come to the same conclusion. I think it's more about making a statement. It's more about, okay, you know what I mean? This is
making an example of Jisu.
I think it's more about making a point, not just out of Jisu.
He's sending a message.
Yeah,
he is sending a message.
Yeah,
it's more. I think it's more to show, like, hey, if you want to make these accusations online that are completely unsubstantiated, I hope you're ready for the consequences after the fact. I don't know. Maybe not. Again, can't speak for Zero. I don't know his motives, but I think this will be a great example of that, right? Especially if, like, I'm really looking forward to seeing if it gets to Discovery. You know what I mean? And what comes out of that. So,
yeah, I mean, Discovery, deposition,
and depositions especially, yeah, because that's when you'll really get like a preview of what you can expect to be argued if it goes to trial. That's when you'll get kind of a rough preview or an idea of what you can expect to see if it does go to trial. So, at least if it gets that far, look, you're what Stan said on the stream before. He's like she should just settle. You know what I mean? Her best bet is to just settle before I don't.
I mean, she should.
I don't think she will.
You always do the slap hearing, right? You always try for that first, right?
I think her lawyer should too. Yeah.
If that doesn't fucking go down in her favor, immediately try to settle.
Yeah.
Give in to whatever demands he has, because I guarantee you,
take it.
I guarantee you, if she said, I have absolutely no money, but I will say whatever you want me to say, he would take that deal in a heartbeat, because he wants her to say on the record that she is a liar, that she has lied about him, that she has lied about his friends. That's what he wants more than anything else.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. A public admission from her, an apology, and a retraction of everything she said. Yeah. So yeah, I would think that would be the most plausible scenario, because I don't think she's going to be able. The damages, there's just no way. I just don't see any way that she can afford any of the damages. I mean, you're talking about him losing a partnership with Facebook. That's potentially millions right there that were gone just with that alone.
I know,
and sponsorships. Right? So I don't think that she'll be able to afford, damages at all. And I expect that if the rest of these girls are smart, they will also put out public statements, maybe them making their apologies, retracting the things that they said. And because I don't think anybody, on that list is going to be able to afford to go at it with him. That this will be something that, it could potentially go to trial, but I see no benefit in that.
You remember in the Vic Mignogna case, right? One of the things that fucked Vic over was, they were suing and they couldn't prove damages, right? Now, it's they're doing the appeal and everything, but as far as what happened up until whatever happens with the appeal, they couldn't actually prove damages. They're like, look, we have these statements, right? And then we have these people dropping them.
Yeah.
We want to move forward with discovery so we can tell you all the events where he's been canceled and tell you the exact amount we're suing them for damages. Yep. And the judge said, well, look, no, right? He's like, if you can't, I know I'm paraphrasing. I know I'm leaving a lot of stuff out. Just simple rundown. I know that wasn't the purpose of the hearing at the time, but that's what it kind of became. And so, they didn't have anything to show, and that looked really bad for them. Now here, you can show your damages. Sir, my client had a multi-million-dollar streaming deal with Facebook Gaming, and they canceled him over this woman's claims, right?
Yep.
That's very specific.
Yes.
That's very fucking specific.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's going to have the communications, to back that up, and not just with them, but with Tempo Storm. What is it, Tempo Storm Gaming or whatever? Because they also that was the team that he was a part of, and they were like, hey, we got to cut ties, So I'm sure he has all that, all the communications to back it up. Hey, listen, given these accusations, we can't continue our partnership with you. We just can't. It's a liability for us, and we got to dissolve this partnership. So I'm sure they have proof to back all that up. And that's the thing we didn't know beforehand, because Zero essentially canceled himself when all this stuff happened. He was just like, hey, yeah, it's all true. What she said about this is true. And in general, it's true. So I'm sorry, whatever, I'm going to go ahead and cancel myself now. And that's what I'm saying. That's why nobody really pursued it after the fact, because they thought it's okay. Well, he admitted to it, so I guess that's that. And most people assumed, like I did, I assumed that meant, that he kind of preempted everything, but apparently that's not the case, at least from what I understand with this, court filing, right? Is that they told him basically, hey, we're done with you, because of this stuff. So, and if that's the case, that's those are damages.
At the very least, you can prove damages against her.
Yeah.
The proving the damages, I don't think is going to be any issue in this case, right? As long as he has statements from Facebook Gaming, which I imagine he does, right? I don't think and Tempo. I don't think he's stupid enough, right, to come forward with these statements and not have anything to back it up. Yes. Now, the other thing is if she tries to bring up his confession, right, which of course it's going to come up, right? If he can show that he was dropped from both of these things prior to that confession, right? Like, it's going to come right back on her to prove it.
No.
Like, these are not like, oh, it's my opinion he's a pedophile when he does X. She was making very specific statements. He did X with this minor who was of this age at this time. Right?
No, she made declarative statements. That's the problem. Like, even like I said, even in her own fucking tweet for her twit longer, she still continued to defame him. And it's just like, what a fucking idiot. That's what I'm saying. Like, even after having a lawsuit filed against you, you're still messing up. Like, that's how you know that she hasn't gotten a lawyer yet. Because she would have never, a lawyer would have never have let her tweet that. Never. He would have been like, no, do not tweet that. You know what I mean? Absolutely do not tweet that.
Yeah, nobody is advising her right now. No,
she hasn't retained anybody
yet. Yeah.
You can tell she hasn't retained anybody because of how she's handled it thus far. You know, she knows that it's been filed. She has X amount of days, I believe 30 days to respond to it, right? And it doesn't seem like she's lawyered up yet. And she decided to put something out. And again, I checked her, I don't know if you were there for that, Crow, but I did check her social blade to see if she has on either of her Twitter accounts. I believe she has two. She has the Jisu SSBM Twitter account, which is her smaller one, and then her main account, which is the Jisu artist one. Now, I checked both of them. I've only seen that she deleted like one tweet. It seems like she's only deleted one tweet, so she hasn't mass purged her Twitter, at least in the last month that I could see. That might change. I don't know. But the thing is, when you get a suit like this, they tell you don't delete any communications. Don't try to cover your tracks after the fact, because that is something you could be held, I believe, either for obstruction or contempt of court for. So if she does that, if she actively starts to scrub stuff, that again is something that's going to go bad for her. And
I think it's going to go bad for her regardless.
Well, it's going to go bad for her regardless, but that's just going to make things worse for her. You know what I mean? Is her trying to cover her tracks after the fact? It's not going to help her. And truthfully, even if she like deletes DMs, I believe, again, a lot of these social media companies, they store that information for, I believe, up to 7 years. So even if she deleted those DMs, they probably still exist on a server. You know what I mean? So if Twitter's subpoenaed, they're going to give it up. They're not going to put any kind of resistance, to protect Jisu. Who the fuck is Jisu on their platform? It's just like, oh, you want this user's
nobody.
You want this this user's Twitter DM history? Oh, you got a court order? Well, here you go. You know what I mean? They're not gonna fight it. They're like, oh, you got what you need in order to get the stuff? Oh, I guess you do. Here you go. They're not gonna be like, no, we're gonna protect her.
Guys, I'm going to take a quick break from what we're talking about, very fast. But I promised somebody that I would do this for them. Now it's the holidays. Everybody has tough times. Everybody has good times. Everybody has times where they want me to promote something for them, and this is one of those times. Okay. So this is a Amazon wish list from Jess Carter. I'll put it in the chat for you guys if you can go check it out. This is specifically to help her out with giving her daughter a better Christmas, which I think I mean in general, come on, like
that's sweet.
It's very sweet. Now, just if you can, she would appreciate it, any help. But also she had a special request, and it's if anyone knows at all if there is a second-hand Nintendo Switch, anything at all, because I guess that's the main thing her daughter's been wanting. And if anyone knows of anyone who's selling one, or like a used one for cheap, anything of that nature, hit up Jess Carter. She's right here, actually. There you go.
Nice.
But yeah, the GoFundMe is GoFundMe. the Amazon registry is linked in the chat as well for you guys. If you could, it would mean a lot to a very sweet little girl. And Jess would also really appreciate it. But she doesn't matter. Her kid does deserve the nice Christmas though. So do it for the nice kids.
What the fuck, Crow?
I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, absolutely. If you can, it'd be really nice. It'd be really helpful. I'd appreciate it. And remember the thing about Christmas is it's a time of I guess that's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's the time of giving. Okay, but we're like between
Christmas is the time of giving
Christmas.
too.
We're between Thanksgiving and Christmas. We're between the time of giving and getting presents, right? So like this is something you should absolutely do. And if you want to tell me, Crow, I'm not religious, or Crow, I am Jewish, or Crow, I am what are the fucking Kwanzanites, right? Like I'm pretty sure I made that up.
I am Crow of Jay's Kwanzaa night.
Yeah, like look, I'm Muslim. I still celebrate Christmas. My wife celebrates Christmas. I think Christmas is fan-fucking-tastic.
It's a good man here. You're a good man. You're a good man for that.
Okay, Jess, I didn't want to say everything because personal stories and everything. But this is the reason why. Jess Carter is 2 years sober, which I mean that's a big accomplishment, right?
Congratulations,
I mean, it absolutely is.
Jess.
Yeah, no, like no joke. Absolutely, good, happy claps and everything. Yeah, no, being serious.
No, I know. I mean,
that's tough.
I'm not saying
that's fucking tough, right? Yeah. But 2 years sober. Her daughter's back home for the first Christmas. Anything you guys can do, and again, well, Sen, if you're Jewish, that just means you have to give her 8 gifts. So you have fun with that. Might I suggest the My Hero Academia shit, okay? Because if anything, we want this kid to be a weeb. We don't want the kid with the fucking girly dolls and shit.
Oh, so we have an agenda now. Is that
we do. Look at this stuff. It's too girly.
Oh my god.
Clue. Get her Clue. Clue's an amazing game. I actually have these and they're fun. But see, look. She's got all what are these called? The dolls here. LOL surprise.
Oh,
Look, do you want to get her that? Before. Or do you want to get her this? My Hero Academia shoe thingies. Obviously the shoe thingies.
How about both?
Or Simon.
We need a balance.
Yeah, Connect 4. I love Connect 4.
Oh, Connect 4. My grandma and I used to play that all the time.
Dude, it's a lot of fun. Oh, wait. Maybe you could help her daughter become an artist with the how to draw my... Like, I guess her daughter's like a huge My Hero fan. Because there's no other anime in here at all. It's all My Hero. Anyways, guys, we're gonna jump back into the topic, but it is her favorite. Awesome. Anything you guys can do to help, I would really appreciate it. Jess would really appreciate it. It's first Christmas back home, so
yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
guys, let's make it memorable. Come on now.
Okay, so where was it? Okay, here we go. Who's calling the Discord right now?
Oh God, is there somebody calling the Discord?
Yeah, oh, it's Steve. Hey Steve, we're streaming right now, but I love you, buddy. Okay.
Get him on the stream.
Oh yeah. Hold on, let me jump back in there. Discord.
What was going on in there?
And Gretzky are here. Okay. All right. So I don't know what's up, but like I sent him another link. Oh, those are purchased. Like I don't know how those things work, but yes. Steve, join. I sent you the link. It's in the Discord.
Chat.
Yeah,
a wild Steve DeLive has been spotted.
Okay, let me get back into the filing here. But again, good cause. Go do the good things for Christmas. Or Santa will be mad at you.
Oh, Santa will be furious if you don't do good things for Christmas.
I won't be furious. He'll just be mildly disappointed. Right, which is the worst thing, right? Because when they're shouting and yelling at you, then you're just like, well, they're an asshole. When they're giving you that look, right? And you know, they're just like, you can just tell that they're just the soul has left their fucking body. They're just so fucking upset and disappointed and what a fucking failure and how useless you are. Anyway, so my dad doesn't really like me at times. And I feel like I might carry that and think about Santa that way.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
4, Barrios is informed, believes, and thereon alleges that each defendant, whether expressly or fictitiously named, in addition to acting for itself, himself, herself, or themselves, and on its his, her, or their individual behalf, was at all times herein mentioned the principal agent employed. I hate legal talk. Jesus Christ.
I understood none of what you just said.
Okay, Barrios is informed, believes, alleged that each defendant, whether expressly or fictitiously named, meaning, you know, for whatever reason they are named in the lawsuit, right? So whether they're going to be named under their social media name or whether, like Katie, they get actually outed for their actual name. That's what they mean.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What the fuck, Steve?
What the fuck you mean? Okay, Steve, explain to me how Santa is a black chick now when you come back from your smoke. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's he on right now? That's a pretty nuclear take there.
Okay, so that was the name, right? In addition to acting for themselves or on their behalf, was at all times the principal agent. So what they're saying here is whatever reason they are named in the lawsuit, either under a social media name or their actual name, whether they acted for themselves or on behalf of another, was at all times responsible for their own actions in this case, as are all other cross defendants mentioned, or who has committed such acts or omissions within the course and scope of such agency, servitude, employee, yada, yada, yada. Okay. That's as simplified as I can make that. I'm sure that you could probably, you know, John, can I ask you a question?
Yeah. What's up?
Have you reached out to anyone to like go over this stuff?
What do you mean? This particular document? I haven't, because I think he's busy with some other stuff right now, so I don't want to distract him, you know, because he seems to be focused on another case right now. So I didn't, you know, I figured this would be a little bit less important.
I mean, this ain't gonna be happening for quite some time.
Yeah. So maybe a little later. I'll probably
because I am curious. But yeah, that's as simplified as I can make that paragraph there. This is the nice thing about legal documents. They're terrible. General allegations. Prior to the events outlined in the... Okay. We went through who the defendants are going to be, right? Yeah. So now we're going into the general allegations. But as far as the defendants, I don't see how Katie is not an individual in this lawsuit.
See, and just to clarify on that, we don't know for a fact that she is, but I will say I think it's reasonable to assume that she is, because again, from what my understanding is, Katie is a pseudonym. We don't even know if Katie is actually that person's name. So again, we have to assume that this is one of the does that he's referring to in this. And remember, that's one of the people that has alleged some very serious things against him. So I think that's a reasonable assumption to make. And I think that's something that's kind of going over the heads of some of these people, because they're not named specifically, because they don't say, oh, Katie's not named specifically. Well, why would she be? If all we know is that she identifies as Katie, which again, we don't know if that's her actual name or not, because it's been said that that's a pseudonym, she would essentially be a Jane Doe.
Oh,
Jane Doe number one.
Jess wants to say thank you. I guess she's got alerts turned on, and I guess she's already gotten some.
You're welcome.
Oh,
That was me. That was
awesome.
totally me.
Oh, fucking
You take credit
sense.
for it.
Yeah. That's
Thank
totally me,
God.
by the way.
Yeah,
I
it's
saved the day as usual.
Yeah,
buddy,
Mr.
the
God.
point of doing
Mr.
the
God.
donation is to not like fucking do it to get, you know, whatever. Good job. Good on you, man. You
It
saved
wasn't
Christmas.
actually me.
Oh man, you're awful.
I
You're such
know.
a heartless.
You're
But
terrible.
again, just to clear up, you know, so we're not saying anything definitive here, but I'm just saying I think it's a reasonable assumption. I
I mean, the thing is, you're not going to know until you actually get to that
Exactly.
point, unless I mean, we reach another stage of the lawsuit in which they have to explain who each of the defendants are and why they are being named.
yes.
Right. As of right now, we haven't gotten to that point, but I mean, realistically, he says that it's not just her. It's 10 other unnamed individuals who are responsible.
Jesus, 10?
Yes.
Yep.
His primary accuser would be one of those individuals. She would be like the most responsible for the damages because that's the one everybody latched into. That's also the one he confessed to.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing, again, look at the claim. The claim with her is the most damning, right, against him in terms of what the damage it could do to, or the damage it did, I should say, to his reputation, to his career. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, the stuff that was being said, you know, the fact, presumably, you know, that this person is a minor, all that. So that's the worst. And again, the worst possible thing that you could label somebody, right, is, you know, is a pedo. So.
Yeah. I heard Nick Rekieta say, if they call you a pedo on the internet, just call them a pedo back.
What a reasonable
been an off
solution
day,
that'll
though.
go over
Could've been an off
completely
day.
well.
Now, look, like I said, I can understand if somebody says that to somebody as an emotional response because they're being called that in the moment. Obviously, I don't think that's
it was
good
regarding
advice.
a lawsuit between the legendary DA Talks and who's that other guy? that other cuck, Preston Poulter there. Yeah.
God, I mean, I don't think this is a good idea, but again, you know, can understand that as an emotional response in a heated argument to somebody.
Jisu should team up with Dean.
Oh my God, shut up, son.
No.
Oh, fuck off. Okay, no, like I don't get it though, right? Like not anything, not what you just said, son. Fuck off with that shit. But like, I okay, I don't want to go into Dean's lawsuit, but I thought that that whole thing about calling someone a pedo, I didn't think that was Preston. I thought that was the other guy he called a pedo. He calls a lot of people pedos.
He calls too many people, yeah. So you kind of lose track, so it's understandable.
Look, the other part you're gonna have to prove is damages in the lawsuit side. The Preston Poulter thing just seems really stupid.
Well, see that you know, that aside, that's something that's a little bit more frivolous. And what you mentioned earlier, right, with the Vic stuff, I mean, that was a little bit more difficult, right, to prove. Now, in this particular instance, again, you know, and I'm sure that Zero has those communications, right?
I mean, a Facebook gaming streaming contract for the former #1 Super Smash Bros. Player, like,
yeah.
I mean, that it's like I said, that's got to be millions of dollars. Right? I mean, just that alone, not to mention everything else that opens up for him.
Yes, and again, like I said, I'm sure he has those communications where he spoke with a representative from those companies saying, "Hey, listen, you know, based on what's happening right now, these accusations against you, you know, we can't maintain a relationship with you until either this is cleared or, you know what I mean, or there's some kind of resolution." You know what I mean? So as of right now, we gotta terminate our partnership with you. We gotta, you know, our business is essentially concluded. Yeah, we gotta pull the plug. Business is concluded. We can't. There's just no way we can right now.
Yep.
So, and I'm sure he has something to that effect, right? Something that there's gonna be a lot of like nice little flowery language surrounding it, but that's essentially gonna be the bottom line of whatever's said in those communications.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see. I think where was I here? Full knowledge, consent. Yeah, okay. General allegations. Prior to the events outlined in this complaint, Barrios was a successful online gamer with lucrative contracts and promising career ahead of him. In July 2020, a document Cho drafted was published and circulated throughout numerous social media outlets, including Dots Esports, Kotaku, Dexerto, and ESPN. That document included multiple falsehoods and outright defamatory claims against Barrios and others. This directly, he says others, so Sky Williams, I think, is, yeah, Sky Williams is going to be part of this.
Nice.
I mean, I'm sure. If not at the very least, if not as a witness, obviously, I think we could expect. I think it's again, and this is just an assumption, but I think it's a reasonable assumption that we could expect quite a bit, if not testimony from people. If it goes that far, I think we'd expect to see a couple of signed affidavits, right?
Well, yeah, I imagine that Zero and Sky have been in communication about this. Or Sky has probably already spoken with Zero's legal team.
Well, not just that. Remember, I mentioned this also earlier on my stream. I'm pretty sure the people that previously had testified saying that they don't recall the things that Jisu had claimed about, the Craigslist ads on the big screen and the hentai stuff, that they kind of refuted that and were like, "Oh, I was there around that time and I don't recall that ever happening." I'm sure these are also people that, I would hope, because they already spoke about it publicly, would also be willing to go on record, with signed affidavits as well about this.
Mm-hmm. It's to me, it's interesting, right? Because let's say Zero's lawsuit is successful. I mean, Sky Williams could then immediately sue her, like immediately, right? Because his is a little bit more open and shut. Like, her claims are exactly why everything happened to him.
Yeah.
There's no other accuser who you could lay that on. Like, other people promoting it, sure, but she's the accuser against Sky Williams. So if she loses a defamation suit to Zero, I mean, he is just right up in line, ready to, make her pay. Okay, so this directly resulted in the termination of Barrios' Twitch account, his partnership with the organizations Tempo Storm and Facebook Gaming, along with the irreparable damage done to his reputation. The online statements by Cho included July 5th, 2020 tweet entitled "The Truth About Zero, Katie, and Sky," with a link to a longer document. The defamatory statements by Cho included the following. Okay, so...
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, no, this is good. So 4 defamatory statements, right? And that's what I was told on Twitter a while back. Defamatory statement number 1: the lie about differences in age. In a tweet posted on July 3rd, 2020 at 2:49 a.m. Pacific time on the Twitter account Jisu Artist, Cho stated that Barrios started dating his girlfriend Vanessa. Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, that's a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
That's so easy to fucking prove, too. Because Vanessa, I think Vanessa's the one who actually was there both times Zero wanted to kill himself. The first time she talked him down. The second time she was there when the cops were there. I think she was the one who actually called the police. So, I mean, Vanessa is absolutely going to testify on behalf of Zero, right? And like, there's no defense to getting this wrong, right? This is pretty fucking gross. Fucking Christ. What was this? Although Cho attempted to later retract the statement, the damage was done to Barrios. Accusing a person in the gaming industry of having inappropriate contact with a minor constitutes libel per se, because such an accusation tends to injure him in his profession, and the tweet remains online today. So, I mean, look, she could say, like, I corrected the record later. They'd be like, but you left the original statement up. More people saw the original statement and saw your correction, right? And by this point, like, and I'm sure they'll point out, what, a month, 2 months before she corrects it?
Yep.
And you left the original up.
But the thing is, here's the thing. We know this because of the media, right? Anytime they put out a story, the first time it goes around is always when it gets the most amount of traction. Rarely ever do people pay attention to the retraction of something, or that goes largely unnoticed. So the thing is, she's so stupid. she retracted it and then left the fucking original tweet up.
Mm-hmm.
She should have deleted it. You know what I mean? Not that, I mean, look, it still doesn't change anything because she put out something that was libelous. You know what I mean? She put it out there. So, you know, even a retraction after the fact, that doesn't help because, again, they'll be able to prove that it got more traction the first time around. But at the very least, it would have shown that she was attempting to take some kind of responsibility for the situation. But nope, she set the shit up.
Look, one of the aspects of defamation is actual malice, right? Knowingly lying, right? Now, in defamatory statement number 1, you could argue whether or not she has actual malice there, because it does say that she did attempt to correct it later. But the problem is she leaves the original statement up. I think
it flies in the face.
I think you can still say actual malice because you know it's a lie now, but you left your initial statement up. If anything, you may have actually proven with beyond a shadow of a doubt that you do know it's a lie, and you decided to leave it up.
Yes.
Defamatory statement number 2. The lie about consistent physical abuse. In the document posted on July 5th, 2020 via Twitter and Bitly, Cho alleged consistent physical abuse of Vanessa by Barrios. This allegation is also false. Barrios never abused Vanessa. This false statement also constitutes libel per se because accusing someone of criminal activity, domestic violence, tends to injure him in his profession. 100%. And Vanessa's going to testify, I never said that. She's going to go, I never said that. That never happened. She made it all up. Like, what's she going to do? Like, go up there and go, and Barrios touched children.
What the fuck?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's no defense for that. Like, that's absolutely actual malice.
Yeah. Well, and on top of everything else, it's not something that's based on any provable facts that we know of, right? Because we haven't heard of him getting the police called to his house for any domestic disturbances. You know, is it possible that maybe it existed there? Sure, but you would think by now would have been brought up, right? For sure, it would have been reported on. There would have been, they would have shown, you know, an arrest report, you know what I mean, a police report about him getting arrested for something like this, or some kind of disturbance report, right? If something like that had happened, nothing like that exists that we know of. So it's just like, where the fuck did she get that from? That's an absolute Hail Mary.
Oh, you know what? Right over here. The lie about flying minors for sexual purposes. In a tweet by Cho posted on April 28, 2021 via Twitter on the account. Oh, see, like, that's a recent tweet. I mean, recent in the sense that this stuff happened over a year ago, and that tweet's from what? 8 months? 8 months back? They're clearly been watching her. In a tweet by Cho posted on April 28th, Cho accused Barrios essentially of being a pedophile. Are we just conveniently forgetting that he literally asked a 14-year-old knowingly to send pictures of herself masturbating with ice cubes and offered to fly another minor out to do that in a hotel for him? Now, okay, all right, okay, we know the 14-year-old being flown out, that story is false, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that story is false. And one aspect of that story is that he also was asking that girl to masturbate with ice cubes.
Well, we don't know. Again, that one we don't have any.
I mean, read the statement again, and just read it again, and like you read it, and you tell me how it reads to you.
Let's see. Topper Cho prefaced this statement with a public available document on Google Document with what I didn't expect was another victim to speak up about Zero having her to do the same things when she was underage.
No, this one right here. Are we just conveniently forgetting?
Yeah, that he literally asked a 14-year-old knowingly to send pictures of herself masturbating with an ice cube and offered to fly another minor. Well, this actually sounds like a Cecil McFly tweet, but
look, you know what? The chest beating I'm anti-pedophile doesn't really fucking mean shit to me, right? Like, you have actions that have constituted helping out pedophiles in the past through sheer stupidity, And perhaps because you beat your chest so fucking hard, actual fucking groomers have felt safe in your community because they're like, nobody's gonna suspect us.
No.
I don't know. But like, this is why the chest beating doesn't do shit, right? Like, it doesn't mean
I guess
anything
they're
to me.
just like accepting it because of the prior messages, and they're just arriving to that conclusion based on those.
Okay. I can point out all the problems with that and still respect their opinion. If they're going to do this chest beating, oh, I'm anti-pedophile and you're not. Look, again, members of my family have actually been victimized. So I completely get the visceral reaction, right? However, the kid that's beating his chest the hardest, right, is still a kid who, in his sheer arrogant stupidity, helped out actual pedophiles avoid justice. And he's treated this entire situation like a childish, stupid, arrogant idiot. If other people in fucking commentary or other people that surround these groups want to jump in and support that, that's perfectly fine, right? It's your choice to do that. But you better at least respect other people's opinions, because what you're doing there looks a little bit, kinda, just a smidge retarded. But as far as this goes right here, again, I'm reading it, and I'm reading it a few times, right? I'm reading it just so I can figure it out. But if she's saying that this 14-year-old, right, the one that they're saying he totally did it, I don't have the proof, but he totally confessed. Jisu is saying that the other 14-year-old also, who, and this one's fake, he was going to fly her out to masturbate with ice cubes in front of him, right?
Yeah.
That story is completely fake. But it also shares a similar claim from the other story that we can't prove, right? I think that there's more than enough reason to doubt that the ice cube thing happened at this point. More than enough reason to doubt.
Well,
And if you
especially if
deny
there aren't
that,
any
I'm just going to say
receipts
that
for it.
it's willful fucking stupidity to the point where I would say that it is malicious that you could be this willfully fucking ignorant.
Yeah, well, when Willie Mack came over, he was like, you have to be extremely charitable to Zero.
I don't think you do. I just think that you need to wait for more evidence. You need to wait for more stuff to come out. And the thing was, Technicals was willing to tell everybody, just wait. But nobody could.
Yeah, even Willie wanted the statement directly from Zero. He was saying, why can't he just say this statement to us? Do you remember that? It was I think the tweet might still be up. Like,
Look,
I can't believe I'm
I
based
think
off
it's
that.
a fair point. I think it's a fair point. Okay, I do. Because Willie's being reasonable. He's just being a normal person, being like, I'm not a lawyer. This isn't in court. This is just shit that's going on YouTube, right? Why can't you just tell me that it didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Willie's not sitting there going like, oh my gosh, there's this potential lawsuit. It's centering around a lot of these claims. And, he doesn't have any of the other information, right? That's what I mean. Like, if you wait for it, it makes more sense. But if you jump the fucking gun and start giving hot takes, well, then everybody looks a little fucking stupid.
Look, because and the way that can be explained is pretty simple now that we know for sure that that he's filing a lawsuit. Now, mind you, Zero put out a video right after Technical's video. I think like a day after, or I believe the very next day, he put out his video saying that he was taking legal action. Nobody knew for a fact that he was in, but that's what he said. He said that he was taking legal action. Now we know that to be true, right? Because of the filings and stuff. We have confirmation of that. Here's the thing also. Why wouldn't he just say, well, why wouldn't he just tell people, well, because he might be under a gag order. So he can't speak to anybody. Now, think about this for a moment, right? Andy Signor.
Well, actually, John, before the gag order, I don't, not a gag order. His attorney could have just said specifically, you can talk about all this stuff, but you can't talk about
You can't talk about this.
Yeah.
Gag
Gag order
what I mean by
the judge issued a ruling stating no party can talk about it with the press.
Sure, but what I mean is, look, your attorney, right? Your attorney
Yeah.
is going to tell you, hey, don't speak. That's what happened with the Andy Signore situation. That's why he couldn't speak about it for years, right? He just couldn't. He couldn't address it at all. It took him 2 years until everything was settled, so he could finally come forward and say stuff. I believe with Pro Jared, it was the same thing. Although I'm not 100% certain of that, but I believe it was along those same lines. That's why Pro Jared kind of went silent for about 8 months, and then came back and said, "Yeah, it's all bullshit. And here are the receipts to prove it."
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't say nothing because he was handling everything legally. So, and lawyers, I mean, they're gonna tell you like, "Hey, don't talk to anybody. Don't confirm. Don't deny anything. If they ask you specific questions regarding this, nothing. Don't say anything. Don't say nothing. You know what I mean? Let us handle it. Don't say nothing. Go about your business. But as far as this stuff goes, that is what you hired us for. We'll take care of it from here. We'll tell you when, where, and when you could say something."
Yeah. Like I'm looking at it. I'm going, at this point, you can't have the takes that you've had because there's too much information out there now that would disprove a lot of things these guys have been saying about, technicals and this whole situation with Zero, right? You can still have the opinion that Zero's a creep and all the good shit, right? But like, you have to understand why people have a legitimate concern with that Ice Cube claim, right?
Yeah.
And now that I know, Jisu included that specific detail in another claim we know is false, right? The flying the 14-year-old did not happen, right? That never occurred. If that claim, because based on this message right here, right? Actually, do we have the tweet? We must have the tweet. Let's see here. Okay. No. I can download it, but Jesus. Okay. All right. It doesn't matter. I'm just if that claim was used twice, and in one of the claims it was used in, that whole thing turns out to be false. Why the fuck would you believe it when it was used another time? This doesn't make any sense. Like there's too many problems with that statement.
And they're gonna say because of the DMs.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean,
because that's when Willie got his turn, and that's when he started going into the whole. Yeah, I think Zero. There's legitimacy to this, and Zero's a creep. Is when he saw the DMs.
The thing is, the DMs are not really all that damning, honestly. The one, like I said, the one that reflects worse, obviously.
John, hold on. Before you say they're not all that damning, just to be clear, right? There's a big difference between him speaking with a 14-year-old and having cringe, flirty fucking conversations, and him requesting this 14-year-old masturbate with ice cubes, film it, and send it to him.
Yeah, look, and let me clarify something, right? I'm not saying that him obviously having a conversation with somebody that young and the way it was inappropriate, right? We could look at it and I think objectively say, it's inappropriate, right? Some of the conversation, but when you look at it, right, there's stuff in there that comes to a point of it being suggestive. The part where he's like, why stop there? That to me looks the worst. And obviously him knowing her age, but overall, and maybe the belly rubbing thing, right? But you don't see anything that's overtly sexual, no sexually charged conversation.
It can't be substantiated, right?
That we know of. Yeah, I mean, could they exist? Absolutely. Maybe they do, and maybe they'll surface. Who knows? But as far as what's publicly available right now, what we know right now, there's no smoking gun. There's nothing to show, right, that he actually solicited that. There's only a claim that he initially admitted to, then refuted. But like I said, that the water's pretty muddy there because of the admissions he made before and then retracted as well. So the other thing you got to consider too is you would think that the person that shared these messages, they have half of the puzzle, right? The fact that he knew her age, but you don't have the other thing, the most damning thing, not even one screenshot of some overtly sexual conversation happening. You don't even have that, which I think that would be enough for people to be like, oh shit, You know what I mean?
I can't even really fault them because like honestly, if you could tell their characters, right? They don't really care that much. Like I'll even say he doesn't remember things that happened like a week after because he covers so much shit. I completely understand that mindset, so I can see them not wanting to dig in. They're not fucking investigators or anything, and neither are we for that matter. So
No, exactly.
at the end of the day, it just, I guess it comes down to, are you okay with calling someone that might not be a pedophile, or are you wanting to go to bat for someone who might be a pedophile and prove that he's not? Like, that's what it comes down to.
I think
thing is
everybody is entitled to a basic fucking defense. And whether or not you feel context is important, right? Everyone is entitled to be, to have their fucking case heard, right? You don't get to say whatever you want about somebody. And then when they try to tell you what happened, you sit there and go like, well, no, that doesn't matter, right? Like, what fucking world do these people live in?
You think that's another reason? You think that's another reason why they brought up, or Technicals brought up Zaptai?
I mean, look, I think he brought up Zaptai specifically because they brought up his brother, and he wanted to really fucking give it to him, right? The Zaptai thing also, to be clear, if he did have the ages incorrect, I can see exactly why. I can see exactly why somebody would take issues with a 20-year-old flirting with a 16-year-old and would also find it a little fucking creepy, right? That this man was also attracted to the images of that girl who was between 13 and 14 years old, right? Like, I don't know Zaptai. I'm not saying this proves he's a pedophile, anything stupid like that, right? Yeah. If anything, a teenager being attracted to a teenager, regardless of the ages, it would make sense, right? But Zaptai, at the age of 19 to 20, right, was flirting with a girl who he was attracted to, right? He believed she was 16 to 17. In reality, she was 13 to 14. That means Zaptai, between the ages of 19 and 20, was thirsty for a girl who was 13 to 14 years old, right?
Yeah.
Physically. Right?
I've seen
doesn't
some
mean he
people...
broke the law. Doesn't mean he would abuse her. Doesn't mean anything like that. It just means that he was physically attracted to a minor who is as young as 13 years old.
Of no, like, what do you call it? Like, no fault of his own.
No, that girl catfished him.
Yeah, 100%. It's 100% not his fault. Like,
and to be clear, age of consent where he is 16 is fine. So I want to give all the context. I don't think he's a bad person, right? For that interaction. However, I can see why Technicals, who's having this whole fucking crusade against the Smash community and all the fucking pedophiles and all the times they're fucking around with kids and shit, I can see exactly why he would look at Augie and go, "You are friends with a man who thought a 13-year-old was attractive, right?
Yeah.
And you're criticizing me." Right? I could see why he might do it for that reason, but in all honesty, I think he just did it because he wanted to hurt Augie the way Augie was hurting him. And I don't mean like ratios and shit. I mean like, like
personal, on a personal level.
Yeah, on a personal level, he wanted to make it hurt.
Yeah, or get in his head at least, and I think he succeeded in that aspect.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Look, and just to go back a second here to what you had said previously, like my thing is, I'm not on Zero's side, you know what I mean? And I'm not, I'm not massively against him because my whole thing is, I don't know what I don't know, right? And the thing is, what's out there right now, the waters are muddy. I mean, could he have done this? Could he have done something more nefarious? Possibly, but what's publicly available right now doesn't substantiate that. I mean, yeah, you could look at the previous admissions as something, but again, you have to consider the other admissions that he also recanted. So all that stuff factors in. My point is there's a lot more nuance to the situation, and I'm not going to sit there and call somebody or label somebody something without knowing for a fact that they are that. You know what I mean? So my thing is just like, I'm not on his side. I don't think he should have been having, conversations with that girl. You know what I mean? And I think it's grossly inappropriate. But I'm not gonna assume, it looks bad, right? When you hear what she said, and then the fact that he admitted to it after the fact, it looks dumb for him. But again, show like I said, unequivocal proof that is true, that he absolutely did do that. And maybe we'll get an answer to that with this thing coming up. Maybe we'll never know. But as of right now, that's where it is. If the evidence ever sees the light of day, then I'll happily go on record and be like, okay, then that's what it is. He is what they said he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I guess they just don't want you to give him that leg to stand on in the first place, in case he is.
Yeah, but the thing is, again, but we don't. Yeah, like I said, we don't know that.
I don't blame them. Like, this again. This
no,
isn't
of course,
my
people
job.
are entitled.
This
They're
isn't
entitled
like
to their
what I
opinions.
do for a living.
Exactly.
So, and
Look,
for them too, it goes that
yeah,
way too. So
they're entitled to their opinions. If their criteria for labeling somebody that is just, hey, you messaged a minor and you had very inappropriate conversations or whatever, if their standards for that are different, that's fine. You know what I mean? That's their opinion. You know what I mean? If they feel that it's true,
they're also hanging on
to
Zero's confession as well.
That's what I mean, which I think is, again, and that's fine. They could do that if they feel that that's the one thing that is true, is that he confessed to it and they're latching onto it and they believe that to be true. Again,
all like, everybody from what I can see is like, well, the only reason Zero is recanting now is because there's no proof to prove that the Ice Cube shit is true.
Sure. Again, and maybe that's true. And maybe that's true. Oh no, you doxed yourself, Red.
Just for like a second. Holy shit! I meant to
you're gonna have to blur the video after. No, but
nuke the stream.
Oh, did he show his face?
Yes, he did for like 2 seconds.
Hold on. I'm gonna hold on.
Oh my god, Crow! What the fuck? I was trying to turn on the mic because I was muted, and oh my god.
I'm just pulling up our stream.
Anyways, look,
I'm just pulling up our stream just so I have it available.
Keep going.
So what I was saying, yeah, like I said, I'm not going to label somebody without knowing for a fact that that's what they are. I'm just not going to do it. I mean, he recanted the admission, and again, like I said, I know that they're focused on it. They think that that's true, but I just think it's weird that he also admitted to other stuff before, right? Like the showing the hentai stuff, he admitted to that, but then he also walked that back too. Now we don't know if that's true or not either. And then the other thing with Leffen, he admitted to the thing with Leffen, that being true, and then that actually ended up being a lie, right? That it wasn't true. So again, it's just like what's true.
I feel like to prove this point, somebody should have like brought that. I know Augie might have I think he made a video saying this is why the Zero shit doesn't add up for me. I might watch that later, because I feel like if someone brought up that point, it would be I would want to hear like a response to that on their side at least, just to know what they think.
And the other thing too that we have to also consider, right? They think that the suicide thing, that's just an excuse, and maybe it would be if you could probably dismiss it by saying something like that. But the problem with that obviously is the fact that he did make an attempt on his life.
Yeah, I think people gloss over that too because they either haven't, like, that information hasn't brought up to them, because I don't see that mentioned anywhere really. I just hear it as, oh, it might be fluff and sympathy baiting and stuff. And then I brought up John that like didn't like Attica kill himself from like, and he was he seemed like he was happy, right?
Yes, and remember, people were calling him out. They thought that when he got the cops and stuff called on him, that he was taken away on a stretcher and stuff like that, and put into a mental facility for a little bit. They thought that was all just one big publicity stunt. Well, obviously that ended up not being the case.
Yeah.
I mean, as sad as it ended up being, they thought it was one big publicity stunt. Apparently not. Apparently the dude really had issues.
I had to look back at that, and I'm like, that is a good point.
Like, a lot of people say, like, when people do that, they don't seem like there was anything wrong with them at the time. It's not uncommon.
Well, dude, I also brought up Juario. I think when we spoke about it, Juario is another example. Juario was a guy that, by all accounts on the surface, anybody that met him or knew him, right, said pretty much the same thing. He was like the nicest guy. You know what I mean? He was one of these guys that seemed jovial all the time. Like people that would see him at conventions would talk about how friendly he was, how approachable he was. and how he how when talking with him, like even if he didn't know somebody, I heard several accounts from different people that had met him saying, hey, look, even if like you just met him for the first time, if you told him something like, hey, your videos got me through a tough time, he would sit there and talk to you about it and also try to encourage you and tell you, hey man, listen, if you're ever in a dark place, talk to somebody, this, that, or the other, and say things to encourage people and speak, positivity into them. You know what I mean? Say things to uplift them. That was the kind of person that he was. And nobody knew that he was suffering in silence, man. You know what I mean? And then out of the blue, out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere, the dude takes his own life. You know what I mean? Back in 2014, like to the shock of everyone, even people that were friends of his, that were also fellow content creators and stuff like that, were just like, I had no idea. I never would have expected him to, take his own life, because he seemed like the most positive guy. The way he carried himself, the way he always spoke.
Yeah,
it was out of the blue.
I mean, it's not something people think. Like, I'm just saying, it's not uncommon for people to say that about somebody, that when they lose them to that, to say like, I didn't, they seem like they were fine. I didn't think anything was wrong. They seem like they were happy. And right, that a lot of that damage is internal, and it's easy to cover it up. Right. It's very easy to mask it from people who don't know how to identify it. Yeah.
And that's the thing. He was one of these guys that, again, he had a smile on his face in public, and everybody thought he was the nicest guy, and just, never would have thought that he would have done something like that. But apparently he was suffering in silence, man. And nobody knew. That's why it was such a shock to people when they found out.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. They were just like, oh, really? They're like, Juwario? It's like I never would have thought that. I never would have seen in a million years that he would have been the kind of guy to do that. He just didn't seem like that guy, because he was always like uplifting people and saying really nice and positive things to people, and like, you got so much to live for and things like that. And apparently he didn't think that he did.
Yeah, I mean, but unfortunately that's how some people are, though.
Yep. Oh, and what Ty is saying in the chat, Juwario, isn't that the guy that Mars Girl also called a pet? That in that document, he actually, they say that he was grooming underage people, but that's actually not true. So people have misrepresented what was actually in the Change the Channel document, because there was one girl whose account said of her interaction with Juwario, she said that Juwario groomed her, but listen, this is what she said specifically. She said, I was 18 at the time, but I had the mind of a 16-year-old. So people took that and misrepresented that as him grooming underage girls.
That's retarded.
Yeah, they completely misrepresented that and ran with it as him grooming underage fans, when that really wasn't what was said in that document. Because if you look at all the other Jane Doe's accounts with him, none of those girls claimed to be underage. That's the only girl
Steve
that said, "Oh, I was 18, but I had the mind of a 16-year-old," and people ran with that, saying, "Oh, she was underage." You know what I mean?
Yeah. We've seen that a lot, though, right? Like, I mean, even recently, they've tried to use 18 years old and called it predatory. Jisu said it was worse to date an 18-year-old than an actual child, because of, like, you were willing to wait or something like that. I don't remember the exact
the mental gymnastics you have to go through to justify that. Holy shit.
Let me just say this one last thing on Juwario. You got to remember something else with Juwario, okay? When that document came out, it was 4 years removed from his passing, and or either 4 or 5 years removed from his passing. And you got to remember, the guy's not around to defend himself. So the thing is, from me talking with friends of his that actually knew him, they don't believe that he would have forced himself on anyone. Now, did he cheat on his wife? Yes. He did cheat on his wife. But as far as the other allegations are concerned against him, I will say that at least one of the Jane Does, I know who they actually are, and that's a person that has some credibility issues. You know, what I mean, they were revealed to me by the person that I know, who I'm not going to name, as as somebody that has some serious credibility issues to begin with. So with the stuff with Juario, I mean, you just got to kind of draw your own conclusion from it. If you believe it, that's fine. But that's another situation. There's really no way to substantiate those claims. You know what I mean? Outside of just people's word. And again, you have one side of the story and the other guy's not around to defend himself. So take that for what it is.
Yeah, no, the things they did to him were really fucked up because, it comes out after he's already dead. So you're attacking someone who literally cannot defend themselves, right?
And again, he very well could have done the things that he was accused. But I'm just saying, consider the fact that the guy was dead 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean? He's not around to defend himself. So we may never know what the whole truth is of that situation. And when you're getting, aside from people that claim, and like I said, people that might not have the most credibility, and people that are anonymous, there's no way to know what's fact and what's fiction. We can only speculate.
Yeah,
they're evil.
Huh?
The anonymous people are evil.
Well, I mean,
so anonymous tips.
I think it is evil to make an accusation completely anonymously like this, because look, one of the things that you have to understand, and when I say things like as far as like how the legal system works, it's because our legal system is literally the most fair, right? And we have to favor the person that's being accused, right? Because we don't want to, go after someone who's innocent. It is better for us as a society to occasionally let a guilty person go free because we don't want to punish people that are innocent, right? There's no benefit in punishing a person that is innocent. It doesn't undo the evil action that's already occurred. You're just committing another evil action, right? Yeah. I'm not joking, right? If our system occasionally lets an evil person go free, right, because it's set up to protect the rights of the defendants more so than anything else, I get it. I get why it's frustrating, but like, but you're not being evil, right? Your system is set up to do the least amount of harm possible.
The other thing too, like that I'll say this, and because really this doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about at hand, but just to kind of bookend, the Juario thing here, you got to remember something else about the not so awesome document that was written by a bunch of.
I'll be right back. I'm just going to talk my wife.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. That was written by a bunch of ex-Channel Awesome contributors that were also disgruntled, and that factors in as well, because a lot of the grievances that they had were really small. You know what I mean? So they largely padded it with allegations, which again, I don't know if they're 100% true or false. Maybe there's some truth to some of them, some more than others. I don't know, but they absolutely capitalized on the Me Too movement, which was at was at its peak around the time that they dropped it. So these are all things to consider. A lot of the grievances that they put forth in it as well are really things that were minor. And if they really wanted to have an impact, a lot of these people should have spoken up at least 5 years sooner. So that's just my opinion.
You're saying anonymous Me Too accusations are evil, right, John?
I would say, yeah, they're pretty bad.
Yeah, no,
anonymous Me Too accusations.
Yeah, because it's not like you're reporting something you want to be anonymous. You don't want the people who you're reporting the crime you witnessed to identify you and then make you a target. So that would make sense.
Bring you in as a witness.
If you're the victim of a crime, then you have to not be anonymous. You can't just be like, I can't. If I see someone murder a guy,
justice.
And I don't want the murderer knowing who I am, but I seen him murder the person, right? And I can give a tip, be like, yeah, I seen something happen, or I'm reporting like a suspicious suitcase being left around. I could be anonymous, but like it would make more sense in this situation for Jisu to be anonymous and then this Katie person to not be anonymous than the other way around, which makes me think it's a bunch of baloney. Yeah, because how are you supposed to prove anything if the fucking person's anonymous?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Tucked her in, grab some water.
Yeah, and some of these women would jump at the chance to get a little bit of clown anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
fair
evil.
to say.
We all agree.
Jizu's entire existence has been chasing clout.
Yeah, we saw with the Louis girls. Nobody knew really who two of them even were, but they were really gung-ho about letting everybody know who they were.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting to me because, typically when you make these claim under an anonymous name, you're not trying to be attached to it, right? Like you want to be anonymous, but I mean, like they're adamant everybody knows who they are. It's kind of fucking weird, right? Like it's just kind of fucking weird. What's the point of all this?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if she's a victim. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
But
so let me.
They just don't want to take that risk, crowd.
Okay. So this would be. I still think that Ice Cube story is just. As this progresses, I believe the Ice Cube thing less and less and less and less as we go.
What are we reading?
This is the filing.
Oh, this is the thing.
Yeah, Barrios is 0. Cho is Jisu.
Cho.
Yeah. Okay. On July. Okay. So this is the 4th defamatory statement. The lie about showing Cho Craigslist ads of sex workers and hentai. On July 2nd, 2020, Cho posted on Twitter at the account @JisuArtist a false statement that Barrios showed Cho explicit Craigslist ads of sex workers. Cho said, "You were showing me explicit Craigslist ads of sex workers and hentai on the big screen and constantly harassing me at the Sky House when I was 15. Cho's birthday is April 3rd, 1998. Cho was 16 at the time. Cho claimed this happened at the Sky House in July 2014. It is well known that Craigslist had banned their adult service category in 2010. This would make it impossible for Barrios to have shown Cho sex worker ads on Craigslist on or after 2010. Other people living in the house at the time this allegedly happened have since called Cho's accounts into question, accusing Barrios of showing a minor sex worker ads constitutes libel per se." Okay, this is pretty important because okay, we talk about actual malice, right? These defamatory statements all constitute actual malice, right? The only one you could argue maybe not would be the one where it says, she tried to correct the record later, but tried to later retract the statement, but that's undone by the fact that she left the initial statement up, meaning she knowingly had false information up about him. And there's no way around that because she acknowledges it's false when she puts out a statement in an attempt to retract it, right? And then the other 3, I think you've also constitute actual malice, right? The lie about consistent physical abuse. Vanessa's going to say, "I never claimed that. I never said that. There's no police report. This bitch is crazy and she made all this up," right? Just like she made up the lie about our age differences. Just like the lie about flying minors for sexual purposes. Now, that one we know is fake, but also that Ice Cube story is linked to it too. By Jisu saying that he was going to fly a minor out to also masturbate with Ice Cube.
Masturbate.
Yeah, sorry.
What's this Ice Cube thing? I don't get it.
Okay, Steve, you want to know why the Ice Cube thing? Okay, let me be very clear. The reason why is because it's a very specific thing, and Jisu can turn around and say, both these girls are making a very specific claim. He's clearly doing this to multiple people. This is a pattern of behavior.
It's weird. That's weird to pick ice cubes. Like,
It's a
has
weird
he
one, I
even
give you that.
talked about ice cubes in any other way? Like,
Dude, I don't know.
it's just weird. I don't know. I can't. I don't know.
Later we find out Jizu's the one that likes to do that shit.
Ugh.
Oh,
surprise.
no, that would be.
Or maybe someone harassed her and told her to do that, and she's taking it out.
She'd
on
probably
Zero.
claim
I don't
that.
fucking know.
Yeah,
It's just a weird thing.
It's a weird one. It's a weird one for sure. Okay, and then what is it? The lie about flying minors. Yeah. And then this one here. The live out showing Cho Craigslist ads of sex workers. I mean, there's no way around that. I mean, she says it took place 4 years after Craigslist removed that from their websites. She is kind of fucked. I think she is kind
It's
of
a
fucked.
stone cold lie.
Mm-hmm. Okay. As a direct and proximate result of Cho's false statements, Barrios has incurred economic and non-economic damages. Barrios previously had a lucrative contract with Facebook Gaming. Facebook canceled that contract the same day Cho released her document. The Truth About Zero, Katie, and
Same
Sky.
day?
Tempo Storm, the professional esports team, also released Barrios' contract as a result of Cho's false statements. Barrio lost sponsorships and the opportunity to compete in esports. Barrios estimates his damages to fall well above $2 million. Jesus
Christ. That's holy shit.
That's insane, though.
But,
yeah, no wonder he's
But it's a Facebook gaming streaming contract from the world's #1 Super Smash Bros. Player, which is an insanely popular fucking video game.
Why did it take you so long?
I was thinking about what genre fucking Smash was, and I couldn't think of it, so I just said video game.
It's a fighting video game. They fight each other.
No, but there's a specific name for it.
You're fighting.
Yeah, whatever. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, like
we're getting old. We're gonna die soon.
Yeah. What?
Wait, what the
we're all gonna die soon. We only got like 20 years left of that.
Jesus Christ.
Well,
See,
maybe you do.
Positive.
I don't know about the rest of us, Steve.
You got 30. Red Ski, we're good.
Whatever. Yeah. End up like Tommy C. I don't end up like Tommy C.
That's true. I don't think I want to either.
20 more years and that's it.
Unless I get that cool intro he has.
Okay, so
has 30 more years. He's good.
So he lost the Facebook gaming contract the day Cho released her document, right? And if he can link it together, he can go after her for the loss of that gaming contract. Katie and Sky, whatever, the esports team releasing his contract, same thing. If he has a statement from him saying, "Hey, yeah, we released him because of this," there you go. On April 6, 2020, the Judicial Council enacted Emergency Rule 9 of the California Rules of Court, which provides that, notwithstanding any other law, the statutes of limitations and reposts for civil causes of action that exceeds 180 days are told from April 6, 2020 till April 1st, 2020. I don't know what that means, just to be clear. Okay, so causes of action. Barrios incorporates by reference and realleges herein paragraphs 1 through 11 above. Defendant has made false statements of fact again about Barrios. Those false statements of fact are set forth in paragraphs 6 through 11. The foregoing statements were false. Barrios did not date an underage girl, did not abuse Vanessa, did not fly minors in an airplane for sexual purposes, and did not show minors pornography. The foregoing statements tend to injure Barrios in his profession, where being accused of a crime or lying can have profound consequences to employment. The foregoing statements were made on social media and several media websites, including .esports, Kotaku, Dexerto, and ESPN to third parties and were understood to refer to Barrios. Barrios is informed, believes, and thereon alleges the defendant made these statements knowingly that they were not true or without using reasonable care to determine the truth or falsity of these statements. The source of Barrios' information and belief includes Cho's partial retraction of one or more items and her leaving statements online despite knowing they are now false. Again, if she tries to retract it but leaves the false statement up, right? God damn. As a direct and proximate result of defendant's false statements, the professional reputation of Barrios has been damaged, and he has suffered shame, mortification, and emotional distress. In committing the acts described in this complaint, defendant was guilty of oppression, fraud, or malice, in that she was aware of the grievous harm Barrios' career that would be inflicted based on the comments. As a result, Barrios is entitled to an award of exemplary and punitive damages. Okay, so she knowingly lied is what they're saying, right? She knowingly lied, that damaged his reputation, and her statements were widespread throughout media outlets about him. That's, I mean, I think it's open and shut. We can go through the second cause of action, but this is what I want to get to. Prayer for relief. Wherefore, Barrios prays for judgment against defendant as follows. Compensatory damages according to proof at trial, punitive damages, and such other and different relief as the court may deem just and proper. So, there you go. Now, this is the anti-slap thing that we've been talking about, or we were talking about earlier. But what were you guys' thoughts as far as like the whole causes of action thing?
I don't have many at the moment.
Me
It's
neither.
pretty much just how these lawsuits work.
I zoned out,
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of shit there. Okay,
and I'm just here for Cat. So yeah.
Aw.
I'm not reading through all of this.
Lazy crow.
I
Lazy
am
crow.
Hey, at least Crow does more research
Well-
than other people.
True.
Is
Does he?
John
Wait,
actually
actually,
got this
does he?
for me.
It was
yeah, who
John.
are these other people?
Huh?
I want to know the other people. Crow beats and
I think he was.
research
I think he
skills.
was talking about the commentary community, Stu.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, guys, we're done for the night.
Wait, what? Can't we
yeah.
read the end of it? Can't we skip
You
to
know,
the
he
end to
doesn't
see
want
how
to.
it?
I don't blame him.
But I want to see how it ends.
Wait,
I don't
see
care
how
about the
what
middle.
ends.
The
I don't know, the
anti-slap project.
document.
He doesn't.
We're done.
Yeah.
Wait, no,
I know that was it.
nah.
GG. Okay, let's get on Halo.
Yeah, let's go play some
Oh,
Halo.
no.
Everybody, good night. Thank you so much for tuning in. But I want to say a very special, extra special, super duper thank you to everybody who went ahead and helped out Jess Carter. Remember, she says a video of the opening too. That's very sweet.
Oh, nice.
Guys, remember, help out Jess Carter if you can. And if anyone knows a secondhand Nintendo Switch system, something that she might be able to get for cheap, let her know. This is her first Christmas with her daughter back home. It'd be really amazing if you guys could do anything you can to help. And everybody who did, thank you so fucking much.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to go play some fucking Halo.
You're doing Christmas miracles.
Yay.